Today marks exactly 1 year since an EF3 tornado went through parts of central Arkansas. You're watching THV 11 News, and thanks for staying up late with us. I'm Sarah Horbacewicz. A lot of us remember that day well, and this afternoon, those in the Walnut Valley neighborhood of Little Rock took some time to reflect. Residents gathered at the Access School parking lot earlier today, not only to look back, but also to give thanks for all the first responders who helped that day. However, on that day, it wasn't just officials who were helping out.
And there's just a lot of nameless individuals who just reached out, just that whole time, gave tarps, balled waters, just everyone who reached out in love to us.
Neighbors in the community are continuing their focus in rebuilding, insurance settlements, continued cleanup, and so much more. And when that storm hit 1 year ago, thousands of lives were changed in a single afternoon when that EF3 tornado touched down in the Little Rock metro and other areas, blowing through wind. As efforts to rebuild continue, we're looking back at how far we've come.
It's moving over right now.
March 31st, 2023.
But here we're going to follow it. Certainly looks like a tornado. Oh my goodness.
For the first time in over 20 years, an EF3 tornado tore through the Little Rock metro.
A freight train, I mean, it was so loud, just came through, floor was vibrating.
When everything went silence and we came out and we saw everything, I was like, I'm just glad I could keep them safe.
With the storm traveling towards the metro area, the National Weather Service issued a tornado emergency.
In that moment where you see the tornado, you know it's headed into a densely populated area. My thoughts are people are going to die. It just looks like an impossible situation.
In just one afternoon, 2 EF3 tornadoes with winds up to 165 miles per hour would leave a path of destruction.
Over. My goodness, folks. Please be in your safe place.
According to the National Weather Service, there were at least 2,700 structures damaged and 60,000 power outages. More than 50 people were injured and admitted to hospitals. At least 4 people died in Wynne and 1 in North Little Rock.
You know, when you're inside those 4 walls and you're seeing it happen on radar, it's one thing, but then when you go out in the community and see what that did, it's very sobering.
But just as soon as the clouds had cleared, Arkansans came out to help.
Never met anybody over there. I mean, look at these people. Half of the people out there, they're not from this neighborhood. They are here because that's what, as good people, they know what they need to do.
And Arkansans are tough and we are resilient.
Their work opening roads, parks, and neighborhoods. Now, a year later, while rebuilding efforts still continue, North Little Rock's mayor can reflect on the progress made from a newly reopened Burns Park.
Think back, March 31st, what did you hear at 5 o'clock? Everybody's kind of said chainsaws. Chainsaws were going off everywhere. People were out helping other people from all parts of the neighborhood, from even other cities.
And cleanup efforts didn't stop there. Little Rock's mayor is still pushing to build back.
We have residents that are still negotiating with insurance companies and still trying to make decisions on whether or not to move back, whether or not to rebuild.
That long road to recovery continues in neighborhoods where foundations line now half-empty streets.
Post-tornado stress disorder is a real thing. Never thought of that until it happened.
And as we go through this spring, staying weather aware is as important now as ever, with so many ways to stay ahead of the storm.
At the end of the day, though, when I think back about March 31st, I think about how National Weather Service warnings, broadcast media coverage, emergency management, having the resources and preparing mutual aid, getting people in as fast as possible after the storms rolled through. That holistic, that team effort, I think, saved a lot of lives.
As communities not only come together, but continue to build back stronger.
We're going to cry when we need to cry, but then we're going to laugh and we're going to say, okay, we're good, we're okay. We're going to come out of this and we're going to do it together.
Disasters like this bring out the very best in people, and I've never seen Little Rock so united.
And as we mark this anniversary, we invite you to join us for a 30-minute special tomorrow night at 6:30 as we take a deeper look back to that devastating day that changed the lives of so many Arkansans. Again, that's tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m.
And I know today probably could have brought some hard or scary memories for a lot of you, but I'm hoping you at least got to find some joy in the Easter Sunday and the forecast we had today. Now, we've already started to see overcast conditions across the state this evening as we continue overnight into your Monday. Also, April Fool's Day, it's going to stay cloudy throughout the day, highs climbing to the upper 70s, and that next chance of rain coming tomorrow night. So as you see, tomorrow evening starting out on a dry note, really once we get after midnight, we're tracking that chance of spotty to scattered showers and thunderstorms that'll start to taper off as we get into your Tuesday morning. So overnight rain event that we're going to be paying attention to that could bring some strong to severe thunderstorms. We'll be talking the timeline, the details, those impacts, and that 7-day outlook. So make sure you stick around.
Developing right now, Conway police is investigating a shooting that leaves one person injured tonight. Durance Pearson is currently facing first-degree battery and aggravated assault charges. The shooting happened earlier this morning, just after midnight. According to officials, it started after an argument involving multiple people at JJ's Grill on Main Street in Conway. No information has been released regarding the victim's identity. Meanwhile, a North Little Rock police officer is currently on administrative leave this evening after shooting and injuring a suspect late Saturday night. According to reports, just before midnight, officers were called to the Jefferson Manor apartments after getting a report of suspicious persons who had guns. During their interaction with the group, there was at least one gunshot fired by a North Little Rock police officer. The person was shot, received a non-life-threatening injury as a result of the officer firing their gun. The suspect has since been taken to the hospital for treatment. No officers were injured during the incident. Earlier this weekend, AT&T revealed that personal data from millions of current and former customers was found on the dark web. The company says the breach happened 2 weeks ago. It includes nearly 8 million customers and 65 million former customers. AT&T already reset passcodes for anyone who was impacted, and now they're working to notify them. Compromised data could include social security numbers, email addresses, mailing addresses, phone numbers, and birthdays. This comes just over a month after a nationwide outage for tens of thousands of AT&T customers. The company said a coding error was responsible. Meanwhile, crews in Baltimore have started to work on clearing the wreckage from this week's bridge collapse. Christian Benavidez reports the road to recovery will be a long one.
Work to clear the wreckage from this week's bridge collapse and restore entry to the port of Baltimore is underway. Officials hope to open a temporary channel to get smaller ships moving back in the port. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg on Face the Nation.
This is going to be a very complex process. There are even now forces acting on that steel, so it takes a lot to make sure that it can be dismantled safely, to make sure that the vessel stays where it is supposed to be and doesn't swing out into the channel, but it has to be done.
Still no timeline from when the port will reopen has left thousands of port workers waiting.
We're all wondering how long it's going to take to clear the main channel so we can get ships back in so we can work.
The city's mayor says $300,000 has been set aside for the families of the victims who died in the collapse between government and nonprofit groups. And federally, about $2 million in small business loans has been set aside for companies who have been affected.
I am focused on the total impact on humans, right? And that begins with the loss of life. That then goes to what's going to happen for those families, and then the economic realities following this. And that's where our focus is going to continue to be.
Baltimore-bound container ships now being rerouted to other ports. Baltimore handles more cars and farm equipment than any other port in America. Christian Benavidez, CBS News.
Meanwhile, the Biden administration continues to authorize the transfer of billions of dollars in high-powered weapons to Israel, including 2,000-pound bombs and F-35 warplanes. That's despite ongoing concern for civilian casualties in Gaza. They're part of contracts signed long before the Hamas attack on October 7th. Ships carrying over 300 tons of food aid headed to Gaza yesterday. This week, the International Court of Justice ordered Israel to allow the unhindered access of humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip. This all comes as there's been a spike in assaults on many Christians.
Our worst fear is that people won't have a right to pray. Our worst fear is that people will be removed. Those who want to come to this holy city to pray as they are now, are being rejected, that they're not given permission to come.
In Gaza, Palestinian Christians are struggling simply to stay alive. Hundreds have taken shelter inside churches in the Gaza Strip, hoping for protection. But one church compound was hit by an Israeli airstrike in October, killing at least 18 people. Still ahead tonight, millions of Americans are traveling to see the solar eclipse, but witnessing the rare sight could be expensive. We're taking a look at prices for an eclipse trip in 3 minutes.
And this is an April Fool's joke. We've got that next round of strong storms on the way. I have those timeline and impact details for you right after this break.